Like most computer science students, as soon as I graduated with a computer science degree, I figured the hard part was over. I had the paper, I knew how to code. But within a few weeks, I realized something pretty hectic. I, like a lot of students, might never pass a tech interview or get hired at an entry level. I can build full stack apps. I launched something people can actually pay for. And like I mentioned earlier, I can write code. Yet, after hundreds of job applications, even with a working web app that is live and available, I still have not managed to land any new interviews. Kind of weird, right? Now, if you want to get into tech, the advice is usually build stuff and you'll get noticed. If you have visible work experience, the job offers will come rolling in and your resume will stand out. Except that does not happen as often as you might have been led to believe. There is a massive disconnect between being a developer and actually being hireable, which brings up a point a lot of CS graduates do not want to admit out loud. I might not be the type of developer companies want to hire anymore. And that might be true for you as well. In the current job market, a working product on your resume matters way less in a tech industry that is saturated with candidates. And if you are in CS, or you are thinking about studying computer science, you might be walking into the same trap. So I'd like you to join me, dear viewer, over the next few minutes, however long this video takes. We're going to look at what I like to call the 3 gates keeping you out of tech. We'll talk about the interview system that favors a specific type of candidate, the hidden requirements nobody mentions until you graduate, and the market reality that makes all of this even harder. With that out of the way, we should start by talking about technical interviews.
Memory check.
Technical interviews make sense on paper. If a company is going to pay you to write code, they need to know you can actually write the code. Sounds good on paper, but where does the system fall apart? Well, most companies rely on LeetCode style problems for technical interviews. You solve coding questions under time pressure. Maybe they throw in a system design question where they ask you to build to it at scale. Maybe get a take-home assignment that eats up your weekend, most likely unpaid by the way. Here's what they often do not tell you about getting a CS degree. Certain people are just good at the technical aspects of code. They think in algorithms, they read code bases like a newspaper. Most computer science students, however, we are just better at building things that use code, which creates an immediate mismatch between what the industry tests for and what most developers actually do day to day. Everyone keeps saying, just learn to code and grind LeetCode, you'll get there eventually. Here's the catch though, the word eventually is doing a lot of heavy lifting. If you struggle with logical thinking, that grind could take a while, potentially meaning months of unemployment. Let's also not forget, you are doing all of that just to land an entry-level role in a market that is hyper-competitive. In a world of self-taught developers, coding bootcamp graduates, the guy from your college with 5 internships, the high schooler with a Windsurf subscription who just built an app in one weekend, and also all of those people who just got laid off from Meta. Here's the uncomfortable truth, however. The return on investment from doing LeetCode practice is not guaranteed for everyone. You could grind for a month and get good enough to interview for coding roles, or you could spend a year and make zero noticeable progress. There's this immediate barrier at the door to getting a tech job, even though, provably, you can write the code. And that barrier gets even higher when you realize most CS roles have hidden requirements nobody mentions up front.
There are 3,000 questions and some of them are easy. So I guess let's start with an easy one. This one's toSum. Given an array of integers, numbers, and an integer target, return, what the hell is this word? Indices of the 2 numbers such that they add up to target. What? Okay, what's indices? An index is a tool that tracks the performance of group of assets. Okay, it's an index, so like I in a loop, right? Okay, wait, how is this question easy?
Computer science is broad, right? Maybe you skip the coding grind entirely, you just become a PM, maybe a technical writer, or a business analyst. Except, here's another thing nobody tells you. A lot of these non-coding roles are either locked behind years of coding experience first, or they need extra credentials, or your CS degree does not match the actual job description. To use myself as an example here, one of the reasons I got my CS degree was because I wanted to work in application security. The thought is, I can use my degree to build the apps, and I could also come in with a baseline of security knowledge. Decent idea, right? Except we have another problem. Because my college program focused on app development and not specifically cybersecurity, I am technically unqualified for entry-level security roles. To land the role I just mentioned, I would need to get hired as an app developer first, put in 3 to 5 years in that role, find a security team inside the company that I can hopefully join, and let's not forget, I'll probably need to stack extra qualifications on top of that to make up for my lack of a cybersecurity degree. In a situation like that, you don't need me to tell you I'm not getting into that role fresh out of college. Now, you might be asking, why are things like that in my case? The answer is quite simple. Because the field of computer science is so wide, where you get your actual degree matters a lot more than the tech industry makes it seem. If your college did not teach you Python, you are not a good fit for data roles. If you studied mobile development, but you want to be a cloud engineer, then I hope you're ready to start paying for stuff outside your degree. It's almost like CS forces you to work out your career path before you even understand what the career actually looks like. That's great if you already have work experience, but if you're an 18-year-old trying to pick a college major, then I hope you have no plans to change your mind anytime soon. Since my degree focused on app development, C#, Kotlin, JavaScript, that means I cannot directly get into application security roles fresh out of college, like I mentioned earlier, because my college projects and college experience do not match the actual job description, meaning this job I am interested in circles me right back to our original problem at the start of this video, trying to survive the developer interview, which come in with the built-in gatekeep. If your degree leans towards software development, you're forced to stay in that lane because those are the only roles your degree can get you into. If you do graduate, manage to get a tech job, and then realize you don't actually enjoy the work or you do not like to code, well then tough luck. Have fun applying for that security analyst position you're interested in when 90% of your college projects and work experience revolve around building desktop apps. Couple that with how hard institutions make it to figure out what's in their course material. At any college, introduction to programming can mean anything from we teach you Java all the way to actually this is a math module, which results in a ton of students dropping out of computer science because they got into college program thinking they'll work out as a product analyst, only to find out they are actually in a program that leans toward data science. To add on top of that, do not forget all the other tech roles that sound like entry-level positions when they are actually senior roles in most companies. Meaning you now find yourself in this situation where you picked computer science because you are interested in a specific role, only to discover that either the job you want is a non-coding role that requires you to actually start in a coding role first, or you cannot get into that job at all because your degree does not match it. One other thing that's also not mentioned a lot is if you're already working in tech, you could be potentially stuck in a role you absolutely hate because that's the only one you can land based on your CS degree. If you try to switch, you might be forced to go back to school or get extra qualifications you need to pay for before you can even consider applying for roles you are actually interested in. And all of this is happening while the job market itself is getting even harder to break into.
What they're looking for when they say is kind of new applicants to the market, recent graduates, they don't mean someone that's coming out of university today. What they're really looking for is somebody with 1 or 2 years experience.
The number of computer science graduates increases every year. The number of entry-level roles, however, not so much. There are also way more ways into tech now, from Google and AWS courses all the way to YouTube tutorials. For companies, that is a bigger talent pool. For you, that's way more competition. And if you are like me and recently graduated, you're competing with people who just put in 8 years at Microsoft and your classmate who did every internship under the sun. With odds like that, you don't need me to tell you the outcome is pretty predictable. However, if you somehow do manage to pass the interview stage and get a job offer, if the salary offer does not outright lowball you, then chances are the next candidate in line will accept the pay cut just to get their foot in the door. Then there's AI.
AI, artificial intelligence. AI, artificial intelligence. AI, artificial intelligence.
For the past 3 years, we have all heard software engineering is over, AI will write all the code. In companies, AI tools already handle junior tasks, meaning companies hire even fewer developers. We are told it as though with the development barrier, we are now in a world where anyone can build apps now, which sounds great until you realize it has also flooded the market even more. The barrier to building software and getting tech jobs has dropped, which means the barrier to getting hired has to increase because the number of applicants is now skyrocketing. Companies building AI say you no longer need a degree to ship an app, you can now prompt your way to an MVP, but ironically, when you take their advice and try applying for a job at those same companies, they turn around and say, you need a degree and 5 years of experience to get hired. Entire industries are shipping ChatGPT wrappers disguised as AI-powered washing machines and toasters, while ignoring the fact that all that AI code still needs to be debugged. Someone still has to test it, and when it breaks, someone needs to come in and fix it. When you are busy vibe coding a billion-dollar idea, however, that part of the AI equation tends to get left out until you find out the hard way once your API starts getting abused. Which brings us to all the advice the internet gives you to fix this problem.
AI isn't pushing people out, it's preventing people from getting in. This becomes very clear when we look at new graduates. Entry-level positions are being destroyed. The New York Fed found that recent college graduates ages 22 to 27 are experiencing unemployment rates of 5.8% as of August 2025. But the underemployment rate for recent graduates is 41.8%. So while they are employed, they're working in a job that doesn't typically require a college degree. They're taking any job just to pay the bills. Entry-level positions are being displaced by AI.
The internet will tell you there are a lot of ways to level the playing field. Network even more, do even more LeetCode, get another internship, just keep constantly applying. Heck, start a YouTube channel, kinda like this one. We are told all these things will increase your chances of getting hired, but all that advice ignores the fact that every one of these solutions demands time. If you want to master LeetCode, that might take you a few months. If you choose to build a portfolio to demo your projects, that might take you a few weeks. And the whole time you're working on these things, you somehow still need to make a living.
People aren't firing for unemployment insurance because they're taking gig jobs, okay? Unemployment is this huge hassle for small benefits. It's not worth the squeeze. So they work for DoorDash or Instacart or Uber as filler. And so it's not reflecting in the continuing claims numbers, but it is a rising sense of people opting out of like searching for a real job.
A lot of the online advice also says, just build side projects. Someone will notice your creation and hire you. Does that happen? Yes, it does. But the chance of that happening to you is so slim, you are basically taking part in the tech industry version of going to the casino. In a world where experience wins, nobody's going to hire you, let alone interview you, unless your side project somehow invents a cure for cancer or you already have 10,000 Twitter followers. Take it from me and my side project. The odds of a recruiter stumbling into your GitHub profile are almost zero, which I guess leaves me with a decision to make.
Log in. Lane.
As a CS graduate who does want to write code for a living, I had to make a choice. Do I spend yet another year unemployed trying to get decent at technical interviews, are still getting pushed out of the job market even more? Or do I take a gamble and just go build stuff no one will ever use? Either way I choose to go, I'll still be unemployed apparently. The reality is, the advice to power through will not work for everyone. If getting into tech is like competing in a sport, most of us are just going to peak in college and never turn pro. Certain people just do not have the aptitude for technical interviews. That truth often gets left out in all the online blogs and YouTube tutorials, however. A CS degree is not a guarantee that you'll be equipped for the actual job market. Going into IT is tough if you spend college building desktop apps. Trying to land a job in mobile development is difficult if you started out as a web developer. When a job posting asks you for a CS degree, but the actual job requirements do not match what you graduated with, your degree becomes meaningless almost immediately. None of this, however, is meant to discourage you from computer science. But one message that does need to get passed around even more is that a computer science degree is not as flexible as the industry or the internet make it sound like. Computer science might not be for you, and the tech industry is making it very clear they do not want you to join the job market unless you are getting laid off from your current role. I got my degree because I wanted to understand how apps are built, why systems get hacked, why cloud service apps crash. I wanted to build things people could actually use, things that solve day-to-day problems. However, even with that in mind, I also had to admit the way tech handles recruiting excludes me from a large part of the industry. As I record this, I am nearly 400 job applications deep, still trying to land that next internship or entry-level job. But each passing day, each rejected job application, each failed attempt to land an interview, it really is starting to feel more and more as if the tech industry is determined to keep pushing me, an aspiring developer, out the door because I am no longer the type of developer the job market wants. We now live in a world where companies no longer take chances on developers who are just starting out. So I guess maybe instead of sending out the next job application, which will get ghosted, instead of tweaking my resume again for every ATS under the sun for the billionth time, I guess it's time to admit defeat, embrace the unemployment, and just turn into a solo developer who builds yet another product that gains 0 users. I started this channel to document the journey. I would appreciate it if you joined the cult, I guess. Do subscribe and see how all this turns out. Worst case scenario, I end up yet another unemployed solo dev who can't pay the bills, which is what I already am. The bar's already on the floor. For you watching this though, maybe you will survive the technical interviews and get hired. Maybe you'll drop out of college and watch your side project make $6 million. Maybe you get laid off and see your role get offshored, while your former employer claims they are using AI to restructure operations, as you all watch their profits hit record highs. If you're someone interested in tech, maybe you are in high school looking to choose a major, maybe you're already in a CS program and things are going great, maybe you already are employed, but your CS degree has you locked into a role that you're not a fan of. Drop a comment, tell me your story. With all that in mind, thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll see you next time.